We are trying to be as business-oriented as possible. Our goal is to be close to real business, to offer some kind of usable solution right here, right now. So probably people understand this and they are looking at our technology in order to implement it for their existing applications, for their existing business. Bitcoin is quite centralized now. Probably you have to understand that it works as a result of some kind of social consensus, not technical one. If miners disagree about the way they should support the network, Bitcoin can have serious issues. But it's more about social consensus rather than technical one. Of course, it's going to change in some time, probably in several years. But now the system is not so reliable. But it's just the beginning of the technology, and the major developments of the technology are still coming. Probably not, because it's quite obvious that the blockchain technology is very easy to replicate. So very many new blockchains are going to come up, and it's impossible to somehow limit this. And the most innovation comes from new blockchains, because Bitcoin is something old, something set in stone, because it should be used for money transfers, and people probably don't want to break it. And most innovation, most of the innovation is in new blockchains. So we have to look at new systems in order to find some new technical solutions, new engineering decisions. And it's really hard to block this movement. We have to understand that new people are coming to blockchain now, developers, businessmen, different people. So it's just a start, and people have to, they need some time to understand the technology. I can see very many new developments in very different sectors of economy. Startups, also real businesses trying to use blockchain technology. We are waiting for some ICO of a real business. Maybe it will happen in Russia when some real business, like established business, some big company, maybe oil company or something else, is going to do an ICO. So it could be huge. It could really make ICO market more accessible, more like close to real business. So also very many technical developments in public sector, voting systems on blockchain. So technology is just starting to gain mainstream adoption. So we'll see very many different usages and very many different applications within the next couple of years. It might, yes, it might be that blockchain can have some role in making the economic system more stable, because it provides some kind of transparency, and if banks have financial infrastructure embraces it, it's going to be a game changer, sure. New financial instruments like ICO tokens, you can do so many things with a token. It's a very flexible financial instrument, cheap, effective, everybody can issue one, and everybody can attach some value to it, and only your imagination limits you here. So it's a new kind of financial instrument. It's a great application that we are using already now. And new applications are coming. I think tokenization of real assets, for example, you have some asset that you want to tokenize, for example, gold or oil or maybe piece of art, and you tokenize it and you sell some kind of token backed by real assets. It's a new thing that is going to be big in next year probably. Also, another thing that could really be big within a year or so is voting systems on blockchain. So it's blockchain for public sector, for elections. It can be used within several months, I think. So when people realize that they can make election process more transparent, they're going to be starting using blockchains, and it's going to happen soon. Blockchains are not ready yet to deal with all kinds of data, because many people think that you can put as much data on blockchain as you want, or blockchain can do any kind of smart contracts, any kind of operations, but it's not like that. So we need some time, maybe a decade, maybe more, and then we'll have a system probably that is comparable to, I don't know, some kind of supercomputer that exists on its own, and that could be big. But for now, of course, we can really use blockchain for specific things like new financial instruments, storing some kind of sensitive data, not big data, but some sensitive data, small data. Yeah. Also, voting systems, range of applications is still limited, but these cases are very important because, for example, ICO case, when a startup can issue a token and raise funds through this, it's a huge thing. So it can cover all cases, but we can see with those ICO tokens that blockchain already now is changing how world functions, how startups raise money, how business raises money. So it's already big, and it is going to get bigger. There is some kind of bubble, small bubble, like a bubblet. It's not a real bubble, but this ICO market is probably too hot right now. So there's going to be some cool off phase, maybe in winter this year, when there's going to be some kind of legitimization, regulators are going to have some laws for ICOs. So it's natural, like there is some kind of hype, but all new technologies develop like this. There is some hype, there is some kind of cycle, so upward cycle, downward trend, so it's normal. And it's gonna settle down maybe in half a year, in a year. It's gonna be regulated, and people will understand how they can do an ICO legally in a fully compliant way. It's quite ambiguous what they're going to achieve with closed blockchains, but on the other hand, it's a good development. It's somewhere in between closed systems and real blockchains. So there are no working closed blockchain solutions yet, but very many big companies, Microsoft, IBM, are working on it. So probably something's going to happen. We are working on this too. We're going to have a closed version of Waves blockchain, and probably some government project is going to be launched on it soon.